guys, so on the eve of the big Final Four tomorrow, I wanted to kind of do a transfer portal gossip video, taking a look at all of the top transfer portal players according to a number of different sites. Now, the big news that did happen today, Michigan center Hunter Dickinson into the portal, and there's a lot of speculation. Where is he going to go? Does he return to Michigan? We've got North Carolina, some of their players recruiting him. I think this is a great decision for Dickinson when you look at his situation being going into his senior year next year. Let's be honest about it. This is not an NBA caliber player, but he's a really good college player. So in the day and age of NIL, he's leveraging the last good year he has of basketball and saying, listen, he's probably just going to go to the highest bidder. Maybe it's North Carolina. Maybe he's just angling for a better deal at Michigan. I know people were kind of theorizing and saying he's going to be a senior. He wants to win. But guys, let's remember with Michigan, I know their fans are a little mad, things like that. This is a team who went to like 5 straight Sweet 16. So, Michigan certainly had a bad year. They were in the NIT. We get it. I know everyone's down on Juwan Howard. He needs to act, he's had some situations where you're punching people. It's out of control. But he has had some success there. So, Dickinson's really, I know there's like a rumor about maybe Duke. I've heard some things about that. So, it'll be interesting. He would be a great addition for Duke if Kyle Flapowski goes to the NBA. And by the way, I think Kyle Flapowski is going to be a really good NBA player. He's going to develop a three. Just the way he shoots, I can tell. But guys, this is the T-Rank Big Board based on PRPG. Now, if you're wondering what PRPG, it's basically the college basketball equivalent to what WAR is in MLB. It's just kind of an all-encompassing stat. You can see Dickinson, a 5.0, and then you've got some other guys there as well. Jameer Nelson Jr. from Delaware. That's Jameer Nelson's kid. You've got Nicholas Timberlake, Justin Timberlake's son. I'm kidding about, I don't know. But you've got Denver Jones from FIU. Keegan Records from Colgate, who only played 60% of the minutes. You can see the percentage of minutes that these guys have played too, but there is a full breakdown of just the overall value. That's why I like this probably the most, because all of the sites, On3, 247, they've got their own rankings, but a lot of it is bias and like pro 5 stars, which, listen, don't get me wrong. I love the 5 stars. We're going to go through some of these. This is just something I saw as well. You can see where that's a former 5-star true freshman, just entered the portal, shot blocking machine. But just look at this, the BPR. You've got 4 out of the top 5 players right now in the portal, all centers. So that is something interesting early that we are following. And then these are On3's rankings. You can see they do have Caleb Love ranked as the number 1 overall transfer. There's a lot of, when it comes to On3, they tend to value, the player being a 5-star prospect, like 3 out of their top 4. You've got, as former 5 stars, the the Notre Dame kid has committed to Syracuse. Boy, Syracuse really needs to turn their program around. And then at number 7, you've got Taron Armstrong, who went to Cal Baptist, is kind of an under-the-radar point guard. He is in the portal as well. And a lot of these guys are undecided. You can see the 5th overall player from Colorado, originally from Wyoming. Seems like he really made a name for himself. He was one of the top-ranked players in the portal when you look at the PRPG metric, and it looks like he's been predicted to go to Colorado. He is from the state, so that would be a big pickup for them. And then we do have more rankings. You can see Armstrong at number 7, Timberlake at number 8, the shooting guard, Battle from Minnesota. They had a really bad year, but, Battle is a good player. and the rest of the top 14 or top 13, right there. And then this is 247's ratings. So they have Ware at number 1, Armstrong at number 2, Starling at number 3. That's the kid going to Syracuse. Jameer Nelson Jr., a combo guard, sitting at number 4. And then Brandon Murray transferring from Georgetown. They fired Patrick Ewing, so that might be why he is leaving. Georgetown, his coach is gone, so he's out at number 5. But just overall, a lot of these guys, there's going to be a lot of speculation. It's going to really rev up after the Final Four in the national championship, and we're going to see some major movement. We've also got this coming in. Providence, Bryce Hopkins, who transferred last year to Providence from Kentucky, will return and will not transfer. Now, this was curious to me. I don't think he can transfer because he just transferred. Listen, if you transfer twice within a 2-year span, I think you got to sit out a year. So there's no way, even though there's a coaching change at Providence, this kid's almost backed into a corner. You're not going to transfer, sit out a year, especially this day and age. And it's not like Providence is some bad team. The Big East is certainly a good conference. It's not easy to win, and they're getting a new coach. I get that, but I do believe Bryce Hopkins, based on the current transfer rules, because he transferred last year and used the immediate eligibility, if you transfer again the next year, you have to wait a year. That's kind of the old rules coming into this. After you transfer once, if you do it again, you do a double transfer within 2 years, you're going to have to wait a year. So it really wouldn't make sense for Bryce Hopkins coming off a breakout year to transfer at his current age. Providence is still a good team. But there is that situation right there. And then we do have the final 4 games. I'm going to give my quick assessment of these. We're going to look at the analytics, things like that. You've got San Diego State sitting -2.5. They were -2 to open. They went to -3. Now they're back down to 2.5. Guys, I like FAU to win this game. I know it's shocking. No one can believe FAU making the national championship, but I certainly think we're at a time right now in this tournament where you're going to have people who really aren't into college basketball right now. They're going to look back in 5 years and be like, how did this happen? How did how did Florida Atlantic make the national championship? But really, if you've actually followed it, it's not that surprising. This is a really good FAU team. I think they could very easily beat San Diego State. San Diego State relies, I know they have good defense, but they have been very fortunate this tournament with teams missing threes. If Florida Atlantic at least shoots, 35, 40% from 3, they're winning this game. They're better offensively in my mind. And then you have Miami and UConn. And listen, UConn, you can't pick against UConn in this game. I would say take UConn -5. I would say take FAU money line. And I think we get a UConn FAU national championship. Miami is just too bad on defense. You take a look at their metrics, they're still outside the top 100. Yes, I did have Miami losing in the first round. Let's be honest, they were down by 7 to Drake. I think part of the reason they actually won that game was because right as that was happening, Fairleigh Dickinson upset Purdue in an epic 16v1 game, and that stole the upset thunder from Drake, which enabled Miami to win. If you follow the tournament, this is a serious thing. It happened to me a few times. A few years ago, I was like, man, I called this upset, and then another upset will happen. It's just like there's no way Colgate was going to win as a 15 seed if there was already a 15 seed that won. You guys understand? If you're a 15 seed and there's already been a 15 seed that's won, you're not winning. It's just the way the tournament goes, guys. I'm sorry. It is what it is. So I think Miami got a little bit lucky in that game against Drake, and this UConn team, they've been blowing everyone out. If you actually look at the current analytics, UConn right now is the number 1 overall team in the country by about half of a point in front of both Alabama and Houston. And if they win the national championship, I certainly see them finishing at number 1 overall. You also have San Diego State sitting at number 9. You have Florida Atlantic at 24, but Florida Atlantic is number 17 on KenPom, and then Miami's sitting at 26. Miami's offense is number 6 in the country. Their defense is 109th. FAU is at 32 on offense, 35 on defense. They're a lot more well-rounded. And then you have UConn sitting at number 3 on offense, number 11 on defense. Certainly at this point, if you're betting on anything, we're going to be betting on UConn 100% to win the national championship. And I would say, listen, unless you're trolling, unless you're an alum of San Diego State, Miami, or FAU, the only legitimate chance people have, I mean, there are some legit people that did pick UConn to win the national title. I'm going to give it to them. I had UConn in the Final Four, but I had them losing. My bracket is shot. I'm in the 86th percentile right now, but I'm going to get blown up if UConn does win because a lot of people are going to gain points and move over me. And I'm just clinging right now to the 86th percentile, but that will probably change, or I'm sure it'll change because there's no way for me to earn any more points when it comes to the March Madness situation. And then I just did see this comment on Twitter from Jawan Howard. Today is bittersweet while Hunter Dickinson's departure is unfortunate. There are so many reasons to be thankful and celebrate. This young man has accomplished so much in his 3 seasons. Statistics aside, Hunter helped us go to the Big Ten, yada, 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 Elite Eight. There are memories, blah, blah, blah. All right, so it does look like that is a farewell message. So I'm guessing Hunter Dickinson realizing this is his last year of value when it comes to basketball because he's very likely not going to the NBA. He's taking advantage of the NIL. He's going to the highest bidder, whoever that is, and it was reported that he was open to anyone. So he is I would say, the number 1 transfer right now. Once On3 updates their rankings, once 247 updates their rankings, he'll probably be number 1. I mean, I didn't realize he shot 42% from 3 last year as a big man. So that is a really good percentage. And it looks like he's not going back to Michigan. He wants a big payday from someone in his last season of college basketball. And we'll see who decides to pony up and fork over some money for him. So, guys, that is going to do it for the transfer portal gossip update. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.